Hello everyone, this is Calle 7 Football and we are back for another video. This is Calle 7 Football and then FPL Rich. We're going to be going over game week 32, how we did there, and then looking at game week 33 and how we're going to be planning for that.
First, let's look into game week 32 and how we did within this game week. First going on to my team. I managed to score 67 points for this week with a good overall score in terms of my new rank getting a green arrow within this game week, which is good. In terms of my top players for this game week was pretty much in goal with Pickford scoring a massive 8 points, keeping a clean sheet against Burnley, which is always good to have a good goalkeeper that can keep some clean sheets. In terms of my back three, I did have Pedro Porro scoring a massive 11 points up against Forest, as he did score in that game and did manage to put out a good performance as well. And Gabriel keeping a clean sheet up against Brighton this week, getting another massive 6 points within my team. Now moving on to my midfield with Salah scoring, and pretty much everyone, I do believe Salah was a big captaincy for this week. I did put it on Cole Palmer. A bit unfortunate on what Cole Palmer did manage to do. He only got an assist for that game week up against Sheffield United. I did expect more from Cole Palmer this week, but Salah did outscore Cole Palmer with a 8 points against United. Moving on to my attacking three of Mateta, Solanke, and Haaland. Mateta did sub in for Foden, as Foden was benched that game week against Crystal Palace, and Haaland did manage to score up against Crystal Palace, finally getting on the score sheet, and hopefully up against Lewin he keeps on that momentum.
So now going on to my points for game week 32. I also did 67 points. My rank did go up a little bit. And how I lined up last week, I had a Flecken in goal, not doing very good there. And then we had a back line of three with Virgil, Ben White, and Mikolenko. Mikolenko having that clean sheet against Burnley, scoring big, 8 points. Virgil wasn't able to get in a goal there, a goal or a clean sheet against Manchester United. He did held them that first half, but then that second half it just fell through. And then my midfield with Son, Salah, and Garnacho and Havertz. Um, I did have a Foden initially in my lineup, but wasn't ex expecting that he would get benched this week for no minutes at all. Um, because I did have my captaincy on Foden, but I did it was by accident because I last week I did say that I was gonna put my vice captaincy on Salah, but I think I forgot last minute and I had it on Havertz at the moment, so it ended up being good for me. He got a goal up against Brighton, and he got 14 points, and with the vice captaincy 28. And then my top three up top with Isaac, Munoz, and Darwin. I did bring in Isaac for Watkins this week, probably the biggest loss in points there because Watkins did end up playing that game up against Brentford in that 3-3 tie. He did get two goals, so and Isaac didn't manage to get much up against Fulham. So a big loss there. Um, and yeah, that's how I did for this game week.
Now moving on to the most transferred in players for this week. First on our list is Cole Palmer with that over 100,000 managers transferring him in this week for this. He is a very good transfer as he does have a double game week in game week 35 and then another double game week in game week 37. And with that good fixture up against Everton this week, he is a very good option to have in your team if you don't have him already. Another player that we do have on this list is Luis Diaz with managers of 88,000 managers transferring him in this for this game week, as he also does have a double game week in game week 34, and overall he's a very good pick, with him scoring up against United last week and pretty much being on the score sheet with Liverpool ever since. In terms of players that we do have on this list, another player that I do want to mention quickly is Foden. Foden is still being transferred in this game week, even though he does have a knock to him. I do believe he is a good player, but in terms of transferring him in, I don't believe he is an option for this game week. Maybe managers did transfer him in early.
Now going on to the most transferred out players for FPL this week. First, we have Areola with West Ham. He is on my team. He is still a little uncertain on when he's gonna be coming back, so I'm gonna not gonna be transferring him out this week. But if he doesn't come back soon, I still have my wild card, so I might be transferring him out. If there's still like an uncertain date on when he's coming back, I'm gonna do my wild card in game week 35. So that'll be a good time to take him out. And then another player that we have here is Phil Foden. He did make the list this week as they did play up against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and he did get a knock against them, playing basically a full 90. And he did last game week. He also didn't play against Crystal Palace. And this week I think Pep is gonna also just I think he's gonna save him um, for Real Madrid. Um, I don't know if he might get a couple minutes, maybe like 45, if anything. I don't think he's gonna bench him entirely, like how he did last game week, but he might play minimal minutes. And another player that we have here is Son from Tottenham. This week he does have Newcastle away. And next week he does have a blank, and afterward he has Liverpool and Man City, or not Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal. And those are very tough fixtures. Um, I do have him on my team as well. Debating on whether I should keep him for this game week, or transfer him out next game week. But that's all we have for the most transferred out players for this game week.
Now moving on to the best fixtures for game week 33, we have compiled a list of pretty much the best fixtures for this game week. First on our list is Man City versus Luton. The reason for this being first being mainly because most people do have Haaland and Foden still in their team. Some managers have transferred out Foden with that knock that he did get, but if Pep does decide to play him, or if he does play some minutes within that game week, I do see Foden scoring and kind of causing a bit of havoc within that against Luton. Same with Haaland. You know, Haaland is a very good player. He didn't score against Real Madrid, but he did score against Crystal Palace. Whether he does do good, whether he does play a full 90 minutes within this game week, kind of goes on whether they need him how much they need him within this fixture, as Pep will seem to kind of want to keep some players fit for that Real Madrid game against next week as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think for Man City, it's going to be very heavy week last week and then this upcoming game week. But another fixture that we have here is Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Liverpool is not competing in the Champions League. And for that reason, I think they are gonna have to put their best 11 on the field against this Crystal Palace team, as Liverpool is gonna be playing home. I think it's gonna be a great opportunity for those strikers up top. Having Salah, um, Darwin, and also Luis Diaz, also a good threat, as he did get a goal last week against Man U. Um, and now going on to the next fixture here, we have Manchester United against Bournemouth.
So yeah, Man United against Bournemouth, third on our list for this week. As We do have a couple of Man United players ourselves. We pretty much just have Garnacho, but in terms of managers, do have having some having Bruno Fernandes, which he did manage to score big against Liverpool, as well as some people do have Hoyland. Hoyland hasn't scored, but he might be a good option for this game week if you do have him in your teams. In terms of Man United against Bournemouth, even though this fixture being away, I do believe Man United will be able to score big. Man United players will be able to score big within this fixture. In terms of the Bournemouth players that we do have, I do still have Dominic Solanke within my team, and I do believe he is a good pick and a good pick to hold as well, as he does have a double game week fixture in game week 34 up against Aston Villa and Wolves. So definitely a good player to have within your teams as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Solanke is a good pick, especially against this Manchester United team. Not the best defense. So I think he'll be a good pick there. But another fixture that we have here is Chelsea against Everton. Um, Chelsea is going to be playing home against this Everton team. Everton team not being so strong up top, but they are considered to be one of the stronger teams to be defensively. As in clean sheets, I do believe that they are one of the top teams. And considering that we have Pickford on our, Rich has Pickford on his team, and I have Mikolenko. I think there's an opportunity for some big points there. And then for this Chelsea team, we have Cole Palmer, who has been just exceptional up top, basically being a threat, getting goals and all of that. So I think it'll be it'll be a good matchup for those players.
Now moving on to our game week 33 transfer plans for this week. I do have one free transfer in the and well, I do have one free transfer and zero point 0.8 in the bank. In terms of my overall team, I do believe I have a pretty good team moving forward. With Foden pretty much being the only doubt for this game week. Given that given that if Foden does play, I probably will be rolling the transfer for this week. Um, it all really comes down to if Foden plays or not, whether I'll do the transfer or not. Um, if Foden does not play, I probably will be going into a transfer for this game week. Being that I'll probably move on from Foden to a Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz is a pretty good pick for this game week, as he does allow me to have a extra game week 34 player moving forward. Given that I will be possibly rolling the transfer for game week 33, this is how my team will be lining up with a 3-5-2 and zero point 0.8 in the bank still. With Pickford in goal, Pickford as my goalkeeper for this week, and a midfield back three of Pedro Porro, Virgil, and Gabriel. With Pedro Porro scoring pretty big last week, 11 pointers. Hopefully he can do damage against Newcastle again, as Newcastle does seem to have a very bad defense. My midfield five of Foden, Salah, Palmer, Son, and Garnacho, with my captaincy being on Salah over a Haaland. A lot of managers are seeming to captain Haaland this week, as he does have that very good fixture up against Luton at home. But given that, I probably will be going for a Salah transfer or Salah captaincy, as he will be a very good differential having Crystal Palace at home this week. And as I said before, Foden is on in my team as of right now, rolling the transfer. And my front two goes as Haaland and Solanke, with Mateta sitting on the bench, since he does have that pretty bad fixture against Liverpool away. He did manage to score against City last time, but given that I do believe Liverpool away is a tougher fixture, he will be sitting on the bench for this week.
So now going on to what I will be doing for game week 33, my transfer plan. I did already do the transfer, but my money remaining in the bank was 3.1. You could ignore the -4, as I only did one transfer. Um, but the transfer that I'll be doing for this game week is gonna be Phil Foden to Cole Palmer. I'm not gonna Like I said, I don't think Phil Foden, if anything, he's gonna play minimal minutes. So considering that Cole Palmer does have that Everton game at home, I think he'll be able to fill in that position with the points. And I'm gonna I still have my wild card, so I'm planning this out. I'm gonna definitely gonna be getting Foden back on my team as he's very been very well, doing very well this season. Um, so with that transfer, the way I'll be lining up is 352 with 5.1 million in the bank. Starting in goal, I have Flecken against Sheffield United. I have a back line of three with Ben White, Udogi, and Virgil. And then my midfield being Son, Salah, Palmer, Havertz, and Garnacho. Bringing in Palmer, I'm going to be captaining him, putting the vice captaincy on Salah. Um, I think Cole Palmer will be a good captaincy, a good differential. Um, having Everton, um, and then also keeping Sun. I think I'm still gonna be keeping Sun. I think there's a potential. I know he's gonna be playing away. Last game week he didn't score, but against this Newcastle team, I think he is gonna score big there. And then top my top two attackers up top is gonna be Isaac and Darwin. Benching Munoz for Garnacho. I think just Garnacho, both of these players are going to be playing away. I think Garnacho against Bournemouth is going to be a better pick, um, as Munoz is going to be playing West Ham away. And also with Virgil, I think Virgil will be a good pick as well, as there's a potential for a clean sheet there.
Now, lastly, let's move on to our game week 33 predictions that we do have and some of the predictions that we did do for last week. I do believe Guy Siete did win the predictions for last week. In terms of the challenge,
Yeah, in terms of the challenge, we're not going to be doing it this game week, but next game week definitely we're going to be revealing the challenges ahead of time. And for next week, it's going to be a base full of flour. So whoever loses is going to have to do that.
let's move on to our predictions. First off, we do have Newcastle versus Spurs. Given that Newcastle are at home for this game week, and do believe both teams did manage to win their last fixture, I do believe Newcastle is going to give Spurs a really hard time away. I do believe they're going to win it 2-1.
I'm hoping that both of my strikers slash midfielders, Son and Isak, are going to show up this game week, get some points. Um, I think this is going to be a draw 2-2.
Now moving on to the next game, Brentford versus Sheffield United. Brentford at home for this fixture. Sheffield been struggling all season, with Brentford pretty much being very close to that relegation zone. But I do believe they're gonna be able to beat Sheffield United this game week with a 1-0.
Yeah, Sheffield getting a tie against Chelsea last week. They are going to be playing away against Brentford. I don't think they're going to win this one. I think they're going to lose 2-1.
Now moving on to our next fixture, we do have Burnley against Brighton. Burnley at home this fixture. I do believe both teams last week did manage to lose their games. Burnley did lose against Everton, and Brighton did lose 3-0 against Arsenal. For this game week, I do believe Burnley have been in a pretty good in terms of the fixture or the points that they have been picking up in the bottom half of this season. I do believe they're going to continue on and beat Brighton 2-1.
Yeah, Burnley has been playing pretty well as of late. Last week they did lose their game, but they are going to be playing home this week. I'm just going to give them the draw 1-1 against Brighton.
Now moving on to City against Luton, as we did rank this game week. This we did rank this game for our number one fixture for this week. Man City players are probably going to have a pretty good amount of goal fists against Luton this week. I did predict this game to be 4-1.
Yeah, I think Haaland should definitely be getting on the score sheets against this Lewin team at home. Um, they are gonna win this game. I have them winning 3-1. And I think also, did you mention about Kevin De Bruyne? I think Pep Guardiola might even play him this game week or this game week against Lewin because he didn't even play in the Champions League against Real Madrid. So for those of y'all that do have Kevin De Bruyne, there's a good potential for points as last week he did score pretty big.
Now moving on to Forest against Wolves, we do have a fixture here. Both teams, I do believe, did lose last week, with Wolves losing against West Ham and Forest losing against Spurs. This game week, Forest is at home with at home hosting Wolves. Forest is facing that relegation battle at the very bottom, so I do believe they are going to pull through against Wolves this week and at least tie the game 2-2.
Yes, I think are they in the yeah, no, they're not. They're no Nottingham Forest is not in the regulation at the moment, but they are tied for that third spot. Um I have Nottingham Forest winning this one 2-1 against Wolves.
Now moving on to Bournemouth against Man United. Man United facing Bournemouth away for this fixture. I do have Dominic Solanke and Garnacho within my team, so I do believe hopefully those two players do manage to score some points for this game week, as I do have a 1-2 win for Man United. In my opinion, I do believe, even though I did predict a 1-2, I do believe Bournemouth will be able to cause Man United some damage, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth do manage to win the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think for this one it's going to be a very close game. Both teams are, I mean, are not the best defensively, so there's going to definitely be some opportunities for Hoyland or Solanke. But I have Manchester winning this one 3-2 away.
Now moving on to Sunday's fixtures, we do have first on our list is Liverpool against Crystal Palace. Liverpool last week did manage to tie the game against Man United last week, even though they pretty much did have a lot of the most of the ball possession and a lot of the shots on target. And a bit unfortunate for Liverpool that they did tie the game, but yeah, Man United did defend brilliantly against Liverpool. So against Crystal Palace, though, I do believe Liverpool will go back to their winning ways, and I do believe they're going to win the game 3-2.
Yeah, I would say a little bit of luck as well as that first half was just dominated by Liverpool. Um, I think they're also going to win this game against Crystal Palace. I'm even giving them a clean sheet, so I'm gonna have it 3-0 for Liverpool.
Now moving on to West Ham versus Fulham. West Ham last week did manage to beat Wolves away, and Fulham did lose against Newcastle at home. Given that this is a fixture at home for West Ham, and last week they did win. I do believe Fulham are still a really good side. It doesn't really matter if they did lose last week. I do believe they're going to be pulling through this week against West Ham, getting a tie 1-1.
Poland has been, I think these last two fixtures they've just fallen off a little bit, but they are a good team. They are going to be playing away against West Ham. West Ham has been getting way better since Paqueta has been back. Um, I have West Ham winning this one 3-1.
Now moving on to a good fix, the best, probably another good fixture that we do have for this week: Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Arsenal are at the top of the table, I do believe, in terms of in terms of points, but also in terms of the goal difference. I do believe Aston Villa though will cause Arsenal some damage, and I do believe it's going to be a tight game, and it's going to be a draw 2-2 as Aston Villa. I do believe Aston Villa last week did manage to tie against Brentford, but against Arsenal, I do believe they're going to show more willpower to go on and get some points.
Arsenal is going to be playing at home. They're very strong at home. And as of late, I mean, they've been playing very well defensively. Um, I don't think they'll be able to keep a clean sheet, but they are going to win the game 3-1.
Now moving on to our last fixture for this game week, it does lie on a Monday with Chelsea facing Everton at home. One of these game weeks where I do believe this game can go either 50-50, as Everton does have a pretty good defense compared to Chelsea's. Chelsea's defense has pretty much falling off the rails in terms of late scores, as they did manage to tie against Sheffield United and Burnley. I do believe Everton are a better side than those two teams, so I do believe this is also going to be another tie ending in a 1-1.
Yeah, I think Everton is a little bit um, bad on the defensive side, but having them playing at home, I think they're gonna pull off a clean sheet. And Palmer's gonna show up big, so they're gonna be able to break up that Everton defense, and they're gonna win 2-0.
Thank you guys for watching. That is all we have for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys all next week for Game Week 34.